Today, as I mentioned before, is the fourth Sunday of Lent, the season of letting go. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that it is a two-step process, like stepping stones. When we release, we leave one, and when we renew, we step onto another. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, called this fasting and feasting. So what do we want to release, and what can we put into its place? That is the work or the play that we do during Lent. Each week, Pat and I have been taking a pair of these release, renew statements from the Lent booklet. And today, I'm going to be exploring another pair. The release statement is this: I release any feelings of hostility. So let me share a bit of what it says in the Lenten booklet. Hostility arises when we find ourselves in disagreement with a person or situation. This disagreement can cause hostile thoughts and feelings. We may not express these thoughts and feelings out loud, or we might express ourselves verbally and passionately. Either way, our entire being is impacted by the effects of a hostile mindset. Well, hostility is a pretty strong word, isn't it? But let's keep going and see what we can learn. Hostility arises when we perceive a threat. It could be physically, although honestly that's quite rare these days. But what about a threat to our lifestyle, or our happiness, or our point of view, or a threat to something we value, like a relationship, or old growth forests, or clean water? There are real threats, and then there are perceived threats. Last summer, I think it was, I saw some big machines digging up a park that's nearby, a park I really love, and I thought, oh, what are they doing? You know, they're just making such a huge mess and noise and all that kind of stuff, and I wasn't happy about what I saw, and I used my wonderful power of imagination to just think what they might be up to. And then I found out that they were replacing a culvert with a specialized, newly designed culvert that allows salmon to continue swimming up the stream to their spawning grounds. So all that angst, all those thoughts, all that energy about something that was not even true or real. We have all seen many, many examples of hostility. If you watch the news, it's always there. But what can happen is that we get so involved in the story, is that we take on those feelings, and now it's part of us. We have ingested the disagreement, the conflict. Now, who is suffering? Hostility harms us, not the person or the situation with which we disagree. Our feelings towards someone does not harm the person we direct them to. It harms us. We are the ones who generated those feelings, who expanded them, who poured them out or stuffed them in, either way, and now we are experiencing the consequences. We can live in this reactive state. we can, bouncing from, opinion to reaction. It kind of reminds me of those pinball machines. I don't know if they still have them, but a ball shoots out and creates a chain reaction and bounces back and forth and up and down, hitting all the pegs all the way throughout the game. We can live like that. One stimulus creates a reaction, and then we keep going from one reaction to another. It's exhausting. It wears us down. It impacts all aspects of our physiology, our breath, our heart, our digestion. The Lent booklet says this: when we become hostile, we often experience a knot in our stomach, and our blood pressure may rise. How often have we described a hostile person as being so angry he is red-faced, or her blood is boiling? Hostility harms us. And then the booklet goes on to say this. It's easy to speak harsh words when we disagree. It is just as easy to speak softly and gently, to speak words that bless and uplift people and situations. Well, let's talk about that, especially the last sentence. It is just as easy to speak softly and gently, to speak words that bless and uplift people and situations. Just as easy? Yeah, it can be. When my children were young, they attended an alternative school that was based on Vedic wisdom, and they practiced meditation every day. I was the office manager at the school, and I was also the vice principal. It was a wonderful, wonderful time. And every day I was exposed to either unhappy parents or unhappy children, or sometimes both. The children learned 16 principles of Vedic wisdom. And one of them I used a lot in these situations. It's called Speak the Sweet Truth. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. If we were angry or frustrated or upset in any way, we were to ask ourselves these 5 questions before speaking. First one, is it true? Make sure what we are saying is correct and that we have the accurate information. Before we speak, ask ourselves, is it true? The next one, is it uplifting? I want to make sure that I am contributing something of value to the conversation. Third one, is it kind? Would I want to hear these words directed at me? And the last question, which often stops everything, is this. Is it necessary? Why am I feeling like I need to say this? The practice of nonviolent communication has an acronym that I really love, and I've shared it before, and it's WAIT, W-A-I-T. And there's actually 2 phrases that go along with this, W-A-I-T. Why am I talking? Or what am I thinking? Can we take a moment and ask ourselves these questions? Can we take a moment and sense what is happening in here? Am I talking to someone to change their minds? Am I speaking because I want someone to agree with me? Is what I want to say necessary, or am I just wanting to prove a point? Am I calm? Am I prepared to listen? Am I able to be kind and uplifting? These are really good questions to ask ourselves before we speak or act. Following this release statement, I release any feelings of hostility, is a renew statement. The booklet says this: I renew my practice of non-resistance. The road to peace of mind and personal well-being is paved with the stones of non-resistance. I love that. I'm going to repeat it. The road to peace of mind and personal well-being is paved with the stones of non-resistance. And then it goes on to say, daily we face people and situations we find disagreeable. At such times, it is good to practice non-resistance. Non-resistance is a spiritual practice of holding our minds and hearts above disagreement. Every person, situation, or condition has at its core a divine spark. Non-resistance fans the divine spark into a flame of peace and well-being. In its highest form, non-resistance is lifting up our vision to see the beauty and truth in every person, situation, and condition. With everything that comes my way, I have a powerful choice. Fight what is and become mired in the mess, or release my resistance and use my energy to create solutions. The amount of time and attention is the same, but the results are incredibly different. Yes. From Matthew 5, there is a great statement that I use often. We are told to agree with our adversaries. When I first heard this, I thought, what? Agree with the people that I disagree with? Who are doing things that are not in alignment with my values? Well, I do enjoy the challenge of looking deeply into things and discovering the good that is there for us. So I didn't dismiss this statement, as we can do something that rubs us the wrong way or we don't like, we can just, not pay attention to it. But I try to pay attention to those things that grab my attention one way or another, whether I love them or really dislike them, and find out what they're all about. So first, the word adversary, or in some translations of the Bible, it's enemy. I realize that as long as I see someone and name someone as the enemy, I am contributing to conflict. I've placed them outside of my circle of concern and care. And looking at them this way, I am creating separation, more separation. This is something I really do not want to contribute to. So I go to the next word, agree. Do you remember what I just read? Every person, situation, or condition has at its core a divine spark. Maybe there is a place that we hold the same values. I can look for the common ground where we do agree, where there is agreement. And sometimes I have to look really hard and be willing to give up my stand that they're wrong. You can use this with a person in your life or with systems in our society, like politics or corporations or medicine, education, law enforcement. Anytime you think of someone or something is wrong, that is wrong, you have placed yourself into an adversarial position. So find some place of agreement, some common ground, because it's always there. You don't have to talk to them. This is an inside job. Holding on to your stance, remember, is only hurting you. It's only hurting me. Finding that hostility within myself and releasing it, I can step onto the stone of non-resistance. And there's one more word in that statement. Agree with your adversary quickly. Every moment we hold on to our disagreement, to our fear, our anger, conflict, we are harming ourselves. So reconcile within yourself sooner than later. I release my feelings of hostility. I renew my practice of non-resistance.